All right, Callie and I, we made it to the KOA in Georgia.
We're in St. Mary's, and we are going to go on the ferry tomorrow to go to Cumberland Island National Seashore.
Yep, and so right now what we're going to do is we're going to go check out the town of St. Mary's and see if there's anything cool over there to see. But we got our tent here set up and all of our stuff. And
I'm here.
And Callie's here. And we're going to go have some fun.
St. Mary's was first explored by Europeans in the mid-16th century as part of the settlement of Spanish Florida. The original Spanish settlement was founded in 1566. The city is home to the National Seashores Visitor Center and boat access. We also got the chance to visit the St. Mary's Submarine Museum. The museum had a lot of memorabilia from World War II and the Cold War. The town is bordered by Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base, which is a home port for several Ohio-class submarines that you can actually see coming in and coming out every once in a while. One interesting attraction in the museum is a working telescope you can use to spy on the town from the top of the museum. This is actually how we got our first look at the ferry we took to Cumberland Island. The passengers on the Cumberland Queen II were just returning from their trip.
Callie and I just played some putt-putt, and in the end, our scores were 49-49, so it was a tied game. But Callie did get a hole-in-one.
It was a beautiful day, but it was time for us to get some shut-eye before our trip tomorrow, as we take the ferry to cross over to Cumberland Island.
Did not sleep well at all. There were like cars coming in, and their lights were shining right into our tent, and then you can just hear the interstate pretty much all night, and so didn't sleep very good. But next time I'm going to take the truck and just park it right there to kind of maybe block some light.
We returned to St. Mary's and began boarding the ferry, Cumberland Queen II.
In case of emergency, your life jacket will be located on your seat on the top deck or above your head inside the cabin. Our trip will take about 45 minutes, so sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
The ferry ride was very smooth. There was like an interior cabin that you were able to stay in if you had to get out of the weather. But it actually was kind of hot, so it felt good to step out for a little bit. On the way over there, we did see several sailboats, which was cool. And then we also saw some dolphins, which was really neat as well. I also just, I think it's really cool to watch and see how these ferries come up and dock. So I kind of enjoy just kicking back and watching as the crew sort of finagles the boat with the different ropes and lines up to the dock.
So the ferry left us off at the dock over here, and right now we're walking to the Dungeness ruins, and just beyond that will be the beach.
One interesting thing is all these oak trees are huge, big oak trees all throughout the island. Well, actually, it is believed that some of the oak trees from this island were used to construct the USS Constitution, also known as Old Ironsides. It was first launched in 1797, and it was called Old Ironsides because cannonballs would just bounce right off the hull because it was made out of solid oak. And then at the end of the road, we came across the Dungeness ruins. In the 1880s, Thomas Carnegie and his wife Lucy bought land on Cumberland Island for a winter retreat. In 1884, they began building a mansion on the site of Dungeness, though Carnegie never lived to see its completion. Lucy and their 9 children continued to live on the island, naming their mansion Dungeness. Dungeness was designed as a 59-room castle. They also built pools, a golf course, and 40 smaller buildings to house the 200 servants who worked in the mansion. The last time Dungeness was used was for the 1929 wedding of the Carnegie daughter. After the crash and the Great Depression, the family left the island and kept the mansion vacant. It burnt in a 1959 fire, believed to have been started by a poacher who had been shot in the leg by a caretaker weeks before. Today, the ruins of the mansion remain on the southern end of the island. You know, normally walking through historical sites, you sit back and you think, man, I wonder what it would have been like to walk through this in its prime when it was first built. But in this scenario, you kind of sit back and wonder what would it be like for the people that did live here to see it as it is today, you know, as in ruins with a bunch of people walking around, looking at it, stepping down old stairs. It would be crazy to think of what it would be like to see your own house in ruins many, many years later and visited by people studying it. Yeah, it's just kind of a weird way to think of how would you be remembered. Really feels like Lucy was sort of the driving force for this island, and also all of the different estates that are on it for her and her children. She actually played a big role in conserving the land throughout her whole life. She died in September of 1989, which is just a month after I was born.
Lucy was known to be up with the times on all the new technology, and this is actually the ice house where they would make ice. She had power here on the island.
Also, an interesting sight on the island is a bunch of horses. There are a ton of feral horses on the island, and you get to sit back and watch them kind of graze around. You got to keep your distance from them.
This is a really old cemetery. This one right here is actually the grave for an officer from the Revolutionary War. His name is Charles Jackson. And then this one over here is Robert E. Lee's father, Henry Lee. General Henry Lee was buried here for about 100 years before they moved his body over to Virginia. And then this one right here belongs to a lady named Catherine, who traveled a lot during and saw a lot of battles during the Revolutionary War because her husband was a general as well. So it's pretty interesting to see the grave sites for people who were basically here during the founding of the country. These two sites is Catherine Rickhart and John Rickhart. Both of them worked at the Dungeness, and both of them actually passed away in the Dungeness as well. So they were buried here together, which is kind of sweet. Now we're walking our way to the beach. Up here we're passing by these dunes. Going through the dunes. Looking like storm clouds coming in, but it's supposed to be a beautiful day. But you never know in Florida, or actually we're in Georgia, but you never know in Georgia and Florida if it's gonna rain. It's a bit of a trek from when you first leave the ruins to like a little bit of dunes, and you have some more dune walk, and then you have like a big boardwalk that you go on, and then like a little tiny trail that you walk through until you can finally see the ocean here. That's a big beach! We got a horseshoe crab here. I don't think he's alive anymore, but we got a horseshoe crab. Well, this is a very special trip because it's our first time here at Cumberland Island, and it's a very special trip for another reason.
It's our anniversary.
It's our anniversary, yes.
7 years of bliss with this wonderful man.
7 years of bliss with this wonderful woman.
I love you.
And our hats allow us to kiss. Now, we actually got married that way, right over there.
Fernandina Beach.
Fernandina Beach over at Millie Island 7 years ago.
2015.
Tomorrow. Today's the 14th.
5/15/15.
5/15/15. So
We made it. This was a trek.
this was a trek. But I love you.
I love you.
One more kiss. Mwah. We're about to touch the water. Touch the water. We touched the water. Yay! Looks like somebody had an idea on the beach. How the heck did this get here? And that's it for the trip. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you can.
Visit if you can.
And visit Cumberland Island if you can. Look up the history. It's awesome. We're going to do a little more research ourselves. And hope you enjoyed the video.
Probably definitely coming back because there's so much wildlife.
Yep, and probably camping next time.
Yeah.
All right, see you later.